About to take a look at what's on the front page of our local daily, starting with front page of the People Daily. My guests are in studio. Mwalimu Sosion, good morning and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, Victor.
Karibu sana. And Daniel Orogo, also in studio. Daniel, karibu to the program.
Pleasure to be here this morning.
Karibu. Daniel gave me a different, and you'll have to explain to us how this happened overnight. Daniel Orogo is the current Africa Regional Coordinator, Democracy Moves, Managing Director, Civic Voices, Initiative Kenya, Political and Governance Consultant. Hey, bwana. Heavy. Very
Yes.
good. Very good. Very good. That's how we do it. Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you so much.
Let me start with you now that your voice is on already as we speak. TSC paid 466 million shillings to dead teachers. That is also on the splash of the People Daily here. TSC paid 466 million shillings to dead teachers. Employer, in bizarre revelations, tells State House, House team, that the agency has written letters to widows seeking refund for salaries given to deceased husbands, retired tutors, and those who had exited the profession. That is what we have here on the splash of the People Daily. Nancy Macharia appeared before the House yesterday, and this is one of the revelations that is on the splash of the People Daily. Yes, still on the splash here. Governors reject Ruto 390 billion shillings revenue offer. The COG chair, that is Anne Waiguru, said, you know what, that's more of a clawback to devolution. And she asks the national government to do its part. All right, that is there. All the executive members of the national government and other state agencies meeting in Naivasha for a 3-day retreat. But let's come back here. This is what you have here on the splash of the People Daily. Let me start with you, Daniel. TSC paid 466 million to dead teachers. This is not this a dire revelation, so to speak.
Well, yes, I think it's consequential. I mean, some weeks ago we were discussing about the ghost of the ghost workers issue, especially when it comes to remuneration. I remember just a week ago, the audit was done, and then it was realized that counties or the state or the government was paying, some of the workers that were in the payroll that was not supposed to be paid. We are into this situation again where the government actually is struggling to audit, the payment modalities.
Yes.
To get out the ghost workers who are benefiting from this particular payment. However, I am really shocked by the directive. One is to write to the widows seeking to refund salaries.
Yes, to start tutors and those who had exited the profession, deceased husbands.
I mean that's quite interesting because then what liability would you really put to the widows or the widows to refund? Do these on the initiative that really indicates that you failed, especially in identifying the payment modalities that channels money to people who are not supposed to be paid. But again, remember, is a juxtaposition, because then there is another news carried down in the dailies where the current general secretaries, Collins Yu, is met the Senate committee again, and they're identifying that some of the teachers, dating back to almost a decade, have not been paid their pension. The plans for their pension payment have delayed almost for decades and decades. So I think it's just a contradiction where there should be a very harmonized way of finding out how then is it, what are the modalities of really paying not only teachers but even civil servants who deserve to be paid, but weeding out the ghost workers in quote. I was in a different platform always asking, but what is the profile of a ghost worker? Because it seems to be haunting the civil servants for a long time. The issue about in all ministries, departments,
Yeah.
and you will find the issues of ghost workers always haunting, especially when it comes to payroll, especially when it comes to audit. So I think we should really now narrow down to profile exactly who is this ghost workers without goofing and trying to explain.
Yeah.
Because then there is a comparative explanation exactly who a ghost worker is and why is that payment being channeled to them.
But of course, this is just but an example of what's happening across. I mean, this just unearthed at the TSC.
Yes.
What about other state agencies and other bodies as well? Molimu, this actually it points at the lack of proper system in terms of verifying who is supposed to be paid here and there. What's supposed to be done as per this headline?
If the Public Investment Committee did not flag out that anomaly, probably nobody would have ever given an answer. I'm not convinced by the answers from the Teacher Service Commission because the payroll management system with respect to exit of teachers from the teaching service, either through death or retirement, are very elaborate. Number one, a casualty is issued instantly by the school when a teacher dies or when a teacher retires. It is issued. That casualty causes the next level a process called pay change advice,
right?
PCA. That one automatically stops any salary that is running on the payroll. And with the ICT infrastructure in place, and we are convinced that TSC is fully on ICT, this would be so quick, so instant, so seamless. And once that is done, then a teacher automatically exits the payroll and payment ceases immediately. So with such an efficient system, we would not expect erroneous payment of up to 466 million shillings.
Which is accrued over time.
This money has not been paid probably to the families. That could be fictitious excuses by TSC, and that is why a forensic audit has been instituted. And that forensic audit, when you talk of forensic, it means those who engage in error of commission or omission will be criminalized. And because this is a pointer to criminal action. Number three, Teacher Service Commission has an internal audit that is able to audit all its finances and check where the errors is continuous so that they're able to rectify and arrest that. 466 million shillings is money enough to hire 2,000 teachers annually and pay their salaries for a whole financial year. That is almost the entire teacher requirement of northern Kenya. Now, if there are teachers who are erroneously paid, because there is what we call erroneous payment and overpayment even on the payroll, such monies are recovered when the pension or death gratuity is being processed. So that is the other secure system that is put in place within the payroll management and data system. So really, we cannot expect these 450. Last week, yes, we are talking about ghost workers. Who is a ghost worker? Now we are talking about dead teachers being paid. These are lovable. And the same TSC requisitions for money to hire more teachers. While within the payment system, there are errors and the blame is transferred on dead teachers. While we know very well, if today you are a teacher, Victor, and you die, before you are buried, there is a casualty issued and is already at the Teacher Service Commission. That starts from the school, from the head teacher. Yes. It starts from the school and it is almost instant. It's a TSC and you are put off from the payroll. That's what happens. It is not possible to have accumulated errors in the payroll rising up to 470 million.
Yeah.
Somebody must be minting money and taking advantage and using, because dead teachers can tell no tales. You can't tell widows to refund the money. It is not possible. You can only recover from you can only declare an overpayment or erroneous payment and recover from the pension. That's the system that exists in place. So really, these things do not convince us.
All right.
And it is time, the president has said, we need competent leadership in institutions. We need to remove conflict of interest in institutions. And we need to remove corruption in institutions. That is a pointer to massive corruption being practiced in the payroll. We've not looked at the figures of ghost teachers as well, because the ghost workers are everywhere.
Yes.
It might accumulate to the same. That is almost
That is the same question
1 trillion.
Daniel is asking. Who
And when it is at 1 trillion,
who is
tell
this
me,
ghost
Victor,
worker?
tell me, Victor, if we are talking about wastage of up to 1 trillion shillings, that's enough to hire 4,000 teachers and pay them annually.
Yeah.
And TSC should be very prudent in saving revenue to hire teachers. That is the core mandate. Hire and deploy enough teachers and pay them and ensure that the payroll is able to sustain that at the minimal
Before we
errors.
take a break, the big boys and girls here, I call them, representing our leaders in Naivasha for stock taking and just taking a look at what happened in the last year and looking forward to what's really happening, led by President William Ruto there. We have got governors, executive members, etc., etc. That is happening in Naivasha. I'll come back to that. With the governors rejecting President Ruto's 360 billion shillings revenue offer. This is also here. We also had how Anne Waiguru spoke tough on that and made requests. Still, on the front page of the Standard is still the same thing. On the front page of the People Daily about the teachers, dead teachers paid millions. This is what's on the splash of the Standard newspaper here. MPs demand an in-depth audit of the Teachers Service Commission payroll following revelations that dead tutors were in lists that saw the state agency overpay salaries by around 446 million shillings for the year 2021-2022. So if this is 2021-2022, what about 23-24? I mean, perhaps it's still a continuing kind of process with the loophole, if not checked properly. Again, still on the splash here, we still have the cabinet retreat. President meets with the cabinet and county chiefs. We'll get into that shortly and just take a look at what really happened in Naivasha. Here we have, Ruto, Tinubu, the flying presidents, again still on the front page of the Standard. Scars of gas explosion. Almost a month later, heaps of burned out wreckage, etc., etc. We can take a look at that story. It happened and most people lost their lives and others also were left homeless. This is what you have. But gentlemen, very quick one, within a minute each. Daniel, the request by the county chiefs for the disbursement, the county allocation, still on the front page of the People Daily. This is what we have here, and also on the front page of the Standard. What do you make of this? Very quickly.
Well, I think you have really indicated. I saw the presentation that was done by Kirinyaga, governor, who is the chair of the Council of Governors, boldly, straightforward, tough, and giving her position on what the governors, had requested her to do. I mean, it really indicates, and you see, reading through her speech yesterday candidly, I mean, she's just reminding the government that indeed, the position is that for the longest time, there's been push and pull between the county government and the national government, especially with disbursement of these funds to the county governments. This has cost a lot. Some services has been halted in various county governments. Some services have not been paid. You've seen notices of strike, especially on the medics coming from a number of counties that have been mentioned. I think this particular, and that underscores the importance of this particular retreat. One of the things I see is, a unified position in terms of understanding where these two-tier governments really need to operate on. And agreed, there's sometimes we've been also on the set and looking and urging the functions of the government and factions to have some meetings where they would harmonize the operations, where they would understand what then is the position of county government, what then is the position of judiciary, what is the position of the legislature. And I think this particular retreat provides a ground, for an harmonized, presentation and harmonized agreement, probably for a dialogue. I think there is a room, still there is a room, because they rejected 3.9 revenue offer and still requested for more disbursement, which probably there would be an explanation why that should be done. And I think also the government's, the national, the head of executive, who is the president of the republic, probably gave his opinion as to why it's equally tough.
Let's take a break.
For that kind of,
I need to give you some coffee as we take a break. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Taking a look at what really happens in Naivasha. So please stay with us. I need to also have my cold water. It's hot in studio. All right. We'll be right back shortly. Stay with us.